Anyway, the thing is, the visor is gay. Any visor is gay inherently,
Yes.
but it's kind of nice that your head stays cooler. So that's why I was wearing the visor. And it being yellow is even better. Like a yellow visor is about as gay as it can possibly get. Anyway.
We were having that tactical yellow visor guy. I haven't heard anything from him in
Oh my
years.
God, yellow visor guy. Hold on. What is this website again? Is it Tactical Yellow Visor?
Something, yeah, something like that.
TacticalYellowVisor.com. Hold on. We got to try Google. We got to Google this Tactical Yellow Visor. Tactical Yellow Visor. It's .net.
.net. Is it still there?
Hold on. TacticalYellowVisor.net. I guess in 2013, it looks like.
Okay.
So.
Let's say, I guess he's been out of the game for a little while.
Hold on. He's still got an active Facebook thing.
Oh, really?
Well, let's see, active. Yeah, he did. He's on Facebook, I guess. Whatever. Stupid talk. All right. Welcome to the Practical Pistol Show. My name's Ben, here to answer your shooting questions. Nick the Dick is back on. Say hi, Nick.
Hello, Internet.
Tee up. I have to tell Timmy to tee up the podcasts because he'll forget to do that. Anyway, Mr. Tim Heron, people still call you the nicest guy in shooting. Did you know that?
They do?
I mean, I saw it posted somewhere today. And I was kind of laughing. I'm like, he's not really that nice anymore. He's kind of a dick now, actually.
Whatever.
Okay. What's that, Nick?
Just kind of.
Just kind of.
Not full-blown dick, but...
No, you're not. He's not so bad. I like this. Look at this Tootsie Roll container. This is fantastic. Anyway, look at this. This was left here for me by one of the children. So that works for me. Anyway. I'd like some feedback from you and the guys, please, regarding being a better competitor. Not regarding marksmanship, economy of movement, efficiency, stage visualization, or really anything to do with stepping up for your turn to shoot. I mean, helping mentor new shooters, volunteering time at the local club, building a dry fire routine, having small competitive wins outside of shooting, developing better self-discipline, that sort of thing. Also, what type of other competitor to hang around with and role model? Okay, he's been shooting in Australia for 13 years. Holy shit. He also wants us to get more lady guests on the show. We can't do that. Best we can do is have Hansik on. What? I like the dude, but he is pretty. Maybe he's the nicest guy in competitive shooting now too. He's basically a chick with how positive he is all the time.
Yeah, I guess if I got to pass the torch, it'd be to Wanting.
Yeah. Well, he might just beat you up and take the torch. Who knows? It wouldn't be very nice, but he could do it. Okay, Nick, what do you think about being a better shooter? I mean, I think just like stuff to help out.
So, first of all, I'm a little confused by how he categorizes some of the things. So he puts like shooting stuff in the first paragraph, but then he starts the second paragraph with stuff related to, just kind of giving back in sport, but then he throws in like dry fire and...
Well, no, he's not talking about shooting-related stuff.
Yeah.
By him being a better competitor, he's asking about the second paragraph thing.
Yeah. So he kind of starts off his second paragraph with stuff that, most people I think should do while they're coming up or really any other time. I mean, it's good to give back to the sport when you can, so... I'm not sure what else he means by being a better competitor. If he's not talking about competing harder, then just being a role model, being just an ambassador for the sport. I hate to use that overused term, but one thing I try to do is represent.
Say evangelist.
Well,
that's the term.
Yeah. I mean, when I talk about it away from shooting circles, I try to paint it as a sport, try to make us not look like a bunch of, hooligans running around the woods, that kind of thing. So that's one thing I think is slightly overlooked. But, I think it's great to get back to the sport any way you can in terms of, volunteering to set up stages, RO, all that kind of stuff. I mean, that's obviously, the sport doesn't run without local matches and it doesn't run without volunteers. So I think just, helping out where you can at the local level, and then, representing the sport as a professional to the extent possible, outside of the venue as well, is a positive thing. So,
representing it well.
Yeah, just.
Shit. You mean like not swearing and shit?
Not necessarily, but just making sure that you.
I'm busy bringing the sport into disrepute over here, Nick. What are you doing? What are you talking about?
You just see so many gun owners in general that just kind of comport themselves, and they don't do anything to try to kill the the perception of some people out there that just gun owners in general are crazy.
You just got to keep your Glock in the zipper holster when you're.
I'm not quite sure what he means here, because he has these things divided up kind of in a strange way.
I think he means the being the ambassador for the sport, helping out at your club, like mentoring people. Like, that's what he's talking about. Like, what does he think you should do?
Yeah,
and you find this question confusing because you're one of these entitled dickhead GMs that doesn't do anything.
Well, so are the rest of us.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's I like getting I like when people email and like, thank you for all you do for the sport. And I'm thinking like, I don't really do that much. not shit near as I can tell. But,
man, I still do IDPA matches locally. I don't help set up USPSA, but I hold the timer as much as the next guy at locals. So, pitch in where you can. Don't be the guy that sits on the sideline doing nothing, because nobody likes that guy. So.
Okay, well, how about this? What's the bare minimum to like not be an asshole?
Don't be a pain in the ass to get along with on the range. That's the bare minimum.
Well, I think there's more than that, isn't there?
Don't shoot anybody?
Well, no, I mean, aside from safety, how about as far as helping new people? Yes. I think if like one of your friends wants to shoot USPSA and they talk to you about it, you're kind of obligated to at least set them in the right direction. Right?
I agree.
Yeah, in terms of like giving them advice.
As far as like, no, this is the shit, you need to do it, and this is how. I mean, I just got one of these phone calls like last night, so I'm like obligated at that point to like tell dude what he has to do before he goes to a match. Like safety rules, you got to live in fear of the DQ, and this, blah blah blah. You got to do all this different stuff, and if he needed any gear, I'd give him that. I mean, or not, maybe not give, but loan him the gear or whatever. I mean, to me, that's like bare minimum. Like, you got to do that stuff. Yeah,
away from the range, like outside of the immediate context of a match. Yeah, I agree with that. I'm sure we've all done that.
What about other stuff?
I can count.
You've got to let people in other shooting sports know that there's a better shooting sport, right?
Definitely.
You don't have to do that.
No, you do, because you got to maintain like kind of. A lot of people think USPSA shooters are like dickheads. You definitely got to maintain the mystique.
Yeah.
Let them know.
You don't want to let them down as far as that goes.
It's like, yeah, that's great. You can do that, but this other sport's cooler. This other thing's just better. Maybe you don't have to do that. What else? What about volunteering at your local club?
Yeah, I mean, to the extent possible, I think it's great. I certainly appreciate the people that do more than I do. And
I used to be the guy driving an hour and a half the day before a match. Like, I drive an hour and a half to the range to help set up, and then drive an hour and a half home, and then drive back the next day to shoot the club match. That lasted like 2 years. Then I'm like, yeah, I'm fucking out. So I'm fucking out.
You paid your dues, man.
Yeah.
I respect that.
I think it's incumbent on people to quit doing that shit before they burn out of the sport.
That's exactly what I was getting ready to say, because I've had that particular issue happened with a sport that I played, for 13 years prior to shooting. And the more you volunteered, to the point then it just became an obligation, and then it was dreadful. And then it totally killed any fun or excitement I had for the sport, to the point I didn't even want to do it anymore. So I personally would say volunteer, volunteer to the level of participation that doesn't cause you to burn out.
Yeah.
Another thing we do around here, and not just in pretty much everything except for USPSA, for whatever reason USPSA doesn't do it this way. I know the reason, but for like IDPA, PCC only 3-gun, like all the outlaw stuff we have around here.
PCC only 3-gun?
We have outlaw PCC only matches around here every couple months as well.
That's good.
Yeah, I mean, we got all kind of outlaw stuff. We got a good variety. Anyhow, so the rest, like every other sport except for USPSA, both outlaw and other sanctioned sports, they do rotations in terms of like who's really doing most of the work. So like the match director will do like a 3-year stint, and then he'll take like 3 years off, and somebody else will do it for a while. And like most of the major help will kind of rotate in that fashion, where you do have a bunch of guys that have been around for a long time, but they don't. It's not the same people bearing the brunt of it all the time. Like they rotate, few years on, few years off, that kind of deal. So
all right.
Depending on how long you're around, it's maybe once.
What else should we do as far as getting other people to shoot? Like, I used to be kind of like more pushy about evangelizing the sport, but I'm not anymore. Like, not at all.
Yeah, I'm not pushy, but if people ask me about it, all I try to do is represent it in a professional light.
Oh, I don't even do that.
And if they have questions, like you said, I try to just give them honest answers. I don't feel like I owe them, free classes.
Well, no, like what I've seen is it doesn't help. Like, no, I mean, like if you want somebody to come and participate long term, like this shit sells itself.
Yeah.
So somebody like me, it's like, no, you run around and you shoot fast, and there's like, you want to be fast and accurate and all this. I'm like, that sounds fucking awesome. Like, I'm getting a chub just thinking about that. That sounds amazing. But other people are like, if somebody's like, I don't know, like, fuck, there's nothing you could say or do that's going to get them. That's going to get them hooked or get them to want to do it.
Making anybody come out. Like, if they're self-motivated enough to want to come out on their own, I will help them. But I'm not going to, like, try to make anybody come to a match.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be like, I think you'd have fun, go try it once. And they might go shoot a match and be like, that was kind of fun, but I don't feel the need to go do that again. And you'd be like, all right, cool.
Yeah, I've had a couple people do that I've, want to come out for a match. They come out for a match. I don't think they hated it, but, it wasn't really something they wanted to dedicate a whole day to. So they,
Well,
how many?
That's dedicate a whole day to suck at.
Yeah.
If you want to be good at it, you could put in a lot more time.
How many, we think this is great because, a large portion of our free or not free time is dedicated to it, and it has been for a long time. But, something that people like us, I think, don't keep in mind often enough is like how many sports that you've ever tried in your life have you done for years and you're really wrapped up in? Okay, for most of us, like for me, the answer is 1, maybe 2. I played every sport as a little kid. I tried all kind of things. What have I stuck with for a long period of time? One or 2 things tops that I've ever tried. And there's people out there that are just as passionate as we are about every sport that there is. But just because somebody tries it once, it's not for everybody. That's fine. That's okay.
Right.
No, we need to make it for everybody.
No,
we're trying, right?
Well, we're trying.
Yeah, like, man, you can't even get into a damn club match around here anymore. Like, you can't do it. They
Just
open
wait
the
until we add a shotgun division. I'm
if you're not
serious,
signed
dude.
up in 40 minutes when a new club match here opens, it's like you're not getting it. We got 100 people signed up within an hour, I bet. It's ridiculous. It's getting crazy.
You don't like it?
No, it's still manageable because only about one thing they haven't done yet that I think they need to do is make you pay up front when you sign up. Because they'll have, if they
It's
have
club
like 90
dependent,
sign,
isn't it?
probably 70 people will actually show. Yeah, I mean,
I've always thought it's really strange in like a pre-registration situation at matches that are guaranteed to fill up. You like really encouraging people to register but not shoot. Because if you have even a chance to shoot the match, you have to register right away if you're even thinking about it.
That's what I'm saying. If they make people pay up front, you're probably going to keep the riffraff out at that point. You're probably going to be getting.
Yeah, no, they should definitely do that.
Yeah,
that's like a no-brainer.
What they're doing now is you sign up and then you still pay on the day that you get there. So they got a lot of no-shows. Like you said, people that just jump on there and get their spot a week ahead of time, and stuff can happen during the week they can't show or whatever, but most of them don't release their spot. So it just
sounds like a lot of work for a match director or a registration director too, because then you got to turn around and like
director
shuffle or whatever, the guy that runs registration.
You mean like the guy who just clicks like go on the computerized registration thing?
Yeah, except that he's got to then turn around. I've got 30 empty slots, that were filled up with squads, and I just got to shuffle squads around, and I don't know. That'd just be a pain in the ass. If people pay, then like, okay, you're going to show up.
Well, no, actually, if they pay, then you don't really care if they show up or not.
Right.
It's actually kind of better if they don't, in a lot of ways.
Yeah. You'd probably keep out 95% of the riffraff if you had people paying ahead of time. But
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I've been to a couple this year. I haven't been to nearly as many club matches this year. Not just because of that. I've had a million other things going on, but the couple I've been to, it's still been fine. I wouldn't say we're finishing much later than normal, but it has getting crazy with just the amount of people, just the amount of new shooters, the amount of people that are coming on around here. It's a lot.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to the next part of the question. What type of a competitor do you like to hang around with?
Depends on your goals.
Well, what about you, Nick? What are your goals?
If your goal is to shoot your best match and be the best shooter you can be, you want to hang around with the best shooters, and that's the way it is. If you're there to have fun, then hang out with your buddies, have fun. That's, in my opinion, that's pretty much the only answer. I mean, you're always going to kind of shoot to the level. Your shooting's going to be driven toward the level of those around you for the most part.
Well, I would modify that slightly. I hang out with people that want to be better and are working at it. That has a lot of overlap with the best shooters, but is not entirely.
At the local level, that's probably the best shooters there.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I don't like dealing with guys that are really good but don't really care about being better. Like, there's some of them. I don't like that. I don't really care, but I wouldn't go out of my way to hang out with those people. It's more like I learn more from a guy that's trying to figure stuff out and it has a good attitude and is motivated and is doing shit. Like, if he's in A class, and that's fine by me. He doesn't have to be the best shooter in the world. I learn a lot from hanging out with people like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good too.
I like that.
I do too.
I agree. Yeah.
All right. Let's move on to the next question. I recently started competing in local monthly USPSA matches. I got Dairy Queen to my second match for breaking the 180, for bringing my gun back into the target as I barely moved past it. My question is, what can I do while moving into positions to avoid this for future matches? Have you and the other GMs been DQ'd before? The RO was kind of a dick and was calling shit out on other shooters while waiting, not ROing. Any input will help. Ooh, DQ'd the second match. That's not a good situation. What do you think? How do you avoid the DQ, Nick?
Well, the specific situation he's talking about there, I mean, depending on the range layout, and that sounds like kind of a ticky-tack kind of DQ, assuming he's right on the 180. But how do you avoid that? You look beforehand when you're doing your walkthrough and you got a target that you're going to be shooting near the 180. You need to pick out a physical spot that you can kind of identify, either ground or reference point on, a barricade or something, and say, I cannot go past here and shoot this target. So that's what you have to do in that situation. And then if you're unclear about whether your preferred spot is going to be called a 180 violation, you need to ask the RO during the walkthrough as well. They should be able to give you a concrete answer before you finish your walkthrough.
What do you think, Tim?
I agree with that. The other,
and then, Nick, have you ever encountered the ROs that like won't tell you?
I've seen that once.
I've seen that. I just look at them like, what the fuck? They're like,
probably only like once.
It's like, how are you guys calling the safety angle here? It's like, well, if you break the 180, you go home. Like, thank you. That's very helpful.
It's like, well, let me clarify. I'm standing here. Am I breaking the 180? Yes or no? Like, you're.
No, I've had them like not want to answer or not. Yeah. I mean, actually, I've had them not answered. You just look at these guys; they got a dick growing out of their forehead. You're like, what the fuck? Like, I'm just asking you straight up, dude. How are you calling this? I'm not trying to be an asshole about it. Whatever.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Tim. What were you saying?
No, I agree, and I have encountered a couple of those types of ROs as well. It's almost like they're ROing just for the, the obligation or to DQ people.
Yeah. No, dude, it's strange. I mean, if I say like, so if I was to kick you in the dick, would you 10-6 DQ me for unsportsmanlike conduct, or how would we handle that? Probably you'd be like, well, you got to kick me in the dick and find out. He probably wouldn't answer it that way.
Whatever. I mean, one other, just to expand, I mean, he's got this specific situation, but as a guy that ROs a lot of new shooters, and I get, depending on how new they are, they can make you nervous. I mean, so you got a 180 rule. Don't make an RO make a judgment call, okay? If you're in doubt, just keep the gun downrange. Don't come close to the 180, and that way you won't get DQ'd for a 180 violation. Like the situation he's talking about, yeah, okay, there's certain range layouts where you're going to have to shoot near the 180, it's fine. But like if you're a new shooter, you're a typical local match, chances are you can probably shoot the stage just as well without taking your gun to the 179-degree line. So do that. Just keep it downrange, completely downrange. Don't make him make a call.
Well, what I don't know. Have you guys been DQ'd before?
I have never been DQ'd ever. No.
I've had a couple incidents I probably should have been DQ'd for, but
I would not have argued a DQ, but
yeah. It's just kind of like if the RO stops me, I don't know that I'd have a problem with
it. Yeah, just kind of dumb luck. I mean, like you said, I've had a couple situations where I probably could have been. Couple that were really close to that, but I've actually, knock on wood, never been DQ'd.
Well, I think like the safety rules are something that you want to work on, and to me, honestly, it's something I work on all the time. Even if it's like I'm shooting some stage and it's like I run back, I'm running at a weird angle, and it's like I move my gun close to the safety angle. I'm like, fuck, like it's just something I want to be. I don't want to be riding the line. I don't want to be anywhere near it.
Yeah.
I mean. Unfortunately, a lot of stages are set up to kind of encourage that behavior, where it's like you've got targets like right on the angle all the time and, that kind of shit, which is, that's just the way it is. So part of your training needs to be safety rules. So even when I'm dry firing, I'll pick like, okay, if I'm working some scenario or something, okay, this is my safety angle. I want to pay attention about getting my finger out of the trigger guard when I'm reloading. Even before I ever shot a match, I practiced load and make ready and unload and show clear, practiced the safety procedures and kind of learned the best practices for that, where it's like, oh, face totally downrange. So if you finish the stage, facing off to the left, just when you're done shooting, there's no time limit anymore, just face all the way downrange. Unload the gun, all that. So there's a lot of things that you should do, and you should put these things into practice so you don't have to think about it that hard before you're shooting. So, I mean, what other odd things would you work on for, what other safety rules would you
two things I see newbies doing a lot that can get you DQ'd depending on how tight they're calling things and everything. Let's see, a lot of newbies that want to swing their gun either way up or way down, when they're moving near a wall.
Yeah.
To the point of either, having the gun in their face or almost pointing at their own feet. And, a good thing to do is just bring it in, to your chest or in your eye line, just bring it straight in. And that's going to be faster, and you can keep the gun down range rather than swinging wildly with it. And another thing I see a lot of newbies do, and I don't know why they do this, but during unload and show clear, you give them the hammer down holster command, and they want to go pick up their magazine or their round on the ground or whatever. Like, for some reason, it's stuck in their head, like, I want to grab this stuff before I holster. So it's like holster, and then they got the gun in their hand, they start bending over, they start reaching for their stuff, and it's like, you got to catch them. Like, no, holster, and then go get your crap. Don't sweep your hand.
Oh yeah, or wanting to put their gun on their holster when they or putting their hand on their holster when they reholster. It's another common one.
Yeah.
But
or just finger on the trigger while moving. If they're not actively engaging a target, there's a lot of
Dude, to be honest, a
guard.
lot of experienced people finger in the trigger guard thing. I actually saw it commented on Pistol Forum where I forget. I think it was Todd Green himself was saying like the only rule in competition that they really take seriously is the 180 rule. Like it's pretty tough to get DQ'd for fingering the trigger guard, and I'd say that's probably true. I mean, you pretty much have to light one off during a reload to get DQ'd for having your finger in the trigger guard, at most of the matches I've seen. If I'm being honest. I'm not saying that's a good thing. That's just reality. So it's like for your practice, well, I guess the way to put this is you can get away with having your finger in the trigger guard a lot. You can get away with it until you run into an RO where you can't get away with it. So that's something you don't want to do. You don't want to be in the habit of fingering the trigger guard when you're not shooting stuff.
Yeah. Although I think I can say to my recollection right now, I don't think I've ever seen anybody get DQ'd just for that. That doesn't mean you want to do it, and it doesn't mean it's not a rule, but I can't think of a time when I've seen somebody get DQ'd for a finger in the trigger guard.
Well, and how many times have you seen people moving with their finger in the trigger guard?
Probably every match.
Well, there you go.
How many times have I not seen people moving with their finger in the trigger guard? I mean, it's one of those things like, it's just such a judgment call that, most ROs just aren't going to make that call, I don't think. But, what it does, the thing that's bad about it is, it leads to any little thing that happens, then your finger, if you got one of these guns with a 2-pound trigger and you bump a ball or you trip on a rock or whatever, any little thing can cause you to then, pop one off, and then you definitely are going home. So it's not a good thing to do. Not a good habit. Not at all. Bad things happen. I've tripped badly several times, and I honestly feel that if my finger had been in the trigger guard, I would have fired a round off and been going home. So definitely not a good thing to do.
Yep.
Well, shit. Should we do another question?
Sure.
So these people, they're always sending questions like, what do I do about not getting DQ'd? Practice. What do I do about this? You practice it. Fantastic. Let's find a good one. Nope, not asking this cert bullshit. Tired of that shit. Okay. Here's a good one. Can you and your panelists discuss what locking the wrist of your firing hand feels like and how you learn to do it if you can remember? Locking the wrist of your firing hand. What do you make of that, Nick?
Well, I can tell you I don't make any conscious effort to lock the wrist of my firing hand or my other hand either.